This video is brought to you by Straight Goods News, Canada's alternative online news source. Visit straightgoods.ca.
The first chapter in this report is about controls on commercial imports. We found that while controls are generally working, they need to be better monitored. We know the controls are generally working because we tested them, not because the responsible departments were able to tell us so. The Canada Border Services Agency and other departments need to be better at monitoring their controls at the border. We found monitoring problems with controls reserved for higher risk items such as pharmaceuticals and pest controls. Knowing whether border controls continue to work as intended will require better monitoring on an ongoing basis. I would now like to turn to our chapter on replacing Canada's fighter jets. We looked at the decision to replace the aging CF-18 fleet with the F-35 Lightning II. We found that National Defence did a good job of managing Canada's participation in the U.S.-led Joint Strike Fighter program to design and develop the F-35. However, the department did not acknowledge that the decision to purchase the F-35 was well underway 4 years before it was officially announced. As a result, there were a number of significant problems with the decision-making process. National Defence did not recognize and adequately address the risks inherent in this project. It did not cost the project adequately, omitting some important cost elements. And finally, the department did not provide Parliament with complete cost information or fully informed decision makers about the risks of this program. National Defence did not exercise the diligence that would be expected in managing a $25 billion commitment. It's important that a purchase of this size be managed rigorously. We found that Finance Canada has in place sound tools and practices to manage Canada's interest-bearing debt. However, it needs to provide more information to decision makers and Canadians about how well the debt management strategy is performing. We also found that while Canada is a world leader in recording public sector pension liabilities in its financial statements, the information needs to be easier to find in order to be understood by a broader audience. Our fourth chapter is about the Canada Revenue Agency's non-filer, non-registrant program. Income tax is the single most important source of government revenue. The non-filer, non-registrant program is relatively small, but it assessed $2.8 billion in additional taxes, interest, and penalties in each of 2009-10 and 2010-11. The agency gets a good return on its investment from this program. Our chapter suggests ways the agency could improve that return with its current level of investment. The fifth chapter of our report is on Transport Canada's oversight of civil aviation. Transport Canada has moved to an approach that puts the onus on aviation companies to develop safety management systems in accordance with regulations. Transport Canada then oversees the company's compliance with the regulations. Though Canada has an excellent aviation safety track record, Transport Canada needs to be diligent in its oversight of the safety systems of aviation companies. We found that some aspects of surveillance are working well, but there are weaknesses in how Transport Canada plans and conducts its surveillance activities.
Terry Malevsky, CBC.
Sir, I have a specific question about graphic in your report on page 27 where you discuss the varying, as you put it politely, estimates for the 20-year cost of the F-35. In the first column you show that National Defence's estimates, in your phrase, used for decision-making, they came up with an estimate of $25 billion. Then almost a year later, in response to Kevin Page's report as the parliamentary budget officer, they came up with a figure less than 15 and left a whole bunch of things out. Sir, in our system, I put it to you that the decision makers are ministers. Is it not entirely clear from your report that ministers knew the real number was $25 billion nearly a year before they trashed Kevin Page's report and said it was far less?
Again, we felt that that would have been a prime opportunity for National Defence to bring forward to Parliament the full costing of the project, and they didn't do that, and that really would have been the chance to set the record straight on what the cost of the project is going to be.
But I'm putting it to you, who do you mean by decision makers? Who else makes decisions if not ministers?
Well, again, it was what happened was the Parliamentary Budget Office came forward with their estimate, and within the Department of National Defence, they decided on what their response was going to be. I can't tell you sort of exactly which individual made which decisions. They decided what their response was going to be, and what their response should have been, it should have been a full costing of the information, and that's what should have been tabled in Parliament.
The Minister saw the earlier estimates, sir. I'm sorry to persist, but that's what I'm driving at. In the first column, the $25 billion column, ministers were decision makers, and they saw that $25 billion estimate. They knew that was the real number, right?
Actually, you'll notice in our report that we identify that even in that number that there were certain costs that were missing. Okay, for example, the costs of attrition, costs of upgrades that might be required during the life of the aircraft. So even that number, even that number needed to be refined.